2066RS, a resolution for the authorizing or rejecting of the proposition that the Parish of St. Martin, herein referred to as this parish, join with the state of Louisiana, the Louisiana Attorney General, and other local governmental units as a participant in a memorandum of understanding, the MOU, and any subsequent formal agreements necessary to implement the MOU, including but not limited to a collateral letter of agreement regarding the application of indemnity provisions set forth in the MOU, all related to litigation against Freeport Sulphur Company, Freeport McMoran Oil and Gas LLC, McMoran Oil and Gas LLC, Freeport McMoran Energy LLC, McMoran Exploration LLC, and Mosaic Global Holdings Incorporated, the Freeport Mosaic parties.
I would calls for you to consider whether or not to participate in a settlement of one of many suits that are currently pending relative to the rehabilitation of the coast. And all of that litigation is pursuant to the Louisiana Coastal Zone as defined in the Louisiana Coastal Resources Management Act of 1978. It's Louisiana Revised Statute 49.14.21 and following. We put this on the agenda, on your agenda for the last meeting, your last regular meeting, at which time we deferred taking action on the proposed resolution that you agreed to participate in the litigation. For everyone's edification, St. Martin Parish is not a plaintiff in the lawsuit. However, St. Martin Parish is what is referred to as a coastal parish. And as such, they being us, St. Martin Parish, has the opportunity to share in a potential settlement proposal that has been presented to the plaintiff parishes in that litigation, which are the parishes of Plaquemine, Cameron, Jefferson, St. John the Baptist, Vermilion, and St. Bernard. The particular settlement that's been proposed is for the McMoran defendants to put up $100 million in a special fund to be administered by Coastal Protection Restoration Authority. The settlement funds are payable over a period of 20 years. The settlement is conditioned, however, upon the legislature within 3 years creating the fund legislation and allowing CIFRA to administer the fund, as I referenced earlier. So it's kind of a contingent settlement to be made. Now, our pro rata share of that $100 million payable over 20 years is 0.04%, because that is the only site, or that is the percentage of the total sites where there's coastal erosion or coastal damages as a result of alleged abuse by oil and gas activities. So it's not a whole lot of money, particularly if you pay it over a period of 20 years, maybe $40,000 a year. On August 22nd of 2022, this year, at the invitation of the District Attorney for the 16th Judicial District, Mr. Bo Dewey, we attended, Chairman Tozan and I, the meeting in New Iberia where the parameters of this settlement was discussed. Mr. Dewey had transmitted to me a copy of the settlement agreement earlier. I had reviewed it in preparation for that meeting. I think it's important to note the following. St. Martin Parish, under the law, under the coastal plan about management, litigation statutes, what I'll call it, really doesn't have standing or the right to file suit. Because the only parties that can file suit are those parishes which have adopted a coastal plan, management plan, coastal management plan. We don't have a coastal management plan. As a matter of fact, none of the parishes in the 16th Judicial District has a coastal management plan. The district attorney is involved because the statute, I forget the number, I think it's 214.41, it's in my report, the number, gives standing to those parishes to file suit for coastal restoration, gives standing or gives the right to file suit to only those parishes with a coastal management plan, the state of Louisiana through DNR, the secretary, the attorney general, and, quote, the appropriate DA, whatever that might mean. So I think many people believe that that term appropriate DA means the DA with jurisdiction over a coastal parish within his elected judicial district, which in this case would be used to do it. Anyway, we received a lot of information at that meeting on August 22nd. Came back, prepared a proposed resolution for your consideration to accept or reject, and I wrote a very brief report to you at that time. The matter was deferred because of some additional information that our research had disclosed that warranted a close scrutiny of all the terms of the proposed settlement. On August 8th of this year, we met, me, I think Chairman Tozan was present, as well as Councilman LeBlanc and Councilman Fugely. We met with representatives from Terrebonne Parish, a coastal parish, beyond any doubt, as well as their attorney, as well as its attorney, Terrebonne Parish. And we discussed their perspective on the litigation. Of course, I think that many of us, of course, it's your decision, not the parish president's decision, but I think that the council members with whom I spoke individually, as well as those that was present at the meeting with Terrebonne Parish, and I don't mean to speak for any of those three council members, but I think we all were of the mind it's not a real good deal. Not necessarily from a monetary standpoint, but from a what do we have to lose versus what do we have to gain by challenging a major industry when the amount of damages, coastal damages, quote unquote, if subject to be improved, did indeed exist. As a result of that meeting, I conferred with those three council members that I just mentioned, and we felt it would be wise to act on this sooner rather than later, and hence the special meeting with the item on the agenda. And what has been prepared, and I prepared two resolutions. One, for you to consider if you want to participate in the settlement. The second is a resolution rejecting the opportunity to participate in the settlement. Now, I personally believe, but again, your decision that this latter resolution is the appropriate one, rejecting the participation in the settlement. I also, if you notice in that second proposed resolution, that I put several statements or paragraphs to the effect that St. Martin Parish believes that we're big boys and girls, that we don't need somebody else making a decision to sue or not sue, or to settle or not settle, and that we believe any state legislation which gives another person, firm, or entity, or office holder the right to sue on our behalf is unconstitutional, because we are a sovereign under Article 6 of the state constitution. I put that in there as well, indicating that that's our position regardless. Now, one final observation, the settlement agreement was confected about 1.5 years, 2 years ago It has been signed by the Secretary of DNR, has been signed by Attorney General Jeff Landry, and who is a vocal opponent of coastal litigation. It has also been signed by the Freeport parties, the Freeport-McMoran parties as well. We've been told that whether the settlement's going through, whether St. Martin Parish participates or not. But anyway, that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it. Again, your decision, which way to go. I just, I've given you all the facts I know, and I did look at this very closely. I did study it very closely, and I did have some exposure to coastal litigation in the 1 year period of time I was with the Attorney General's office. So I had a little bit of knowledge of it, but I did do a little reading on all the issues as well. So it's not as simplistic as one may think it is. It's a little complex. And it's kind of like throwing a rock in a pond. You throw a rock in a pond, it makes a splash, but it also makes a bunch of ripples. And even though the splash may not be very big, the ripples may be. They may be long lasting. Anyway, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Mr. Broussard, does that answer your questions?
My name is Billy Broussard. I appreciate you explaining the way you did. I thought it would be a little bit more about the actual erosion issues, and I'm definitely support fixing some of the erosion issues we have in our parish.
Mr. Broussard, just for clarification, it's not erosion problem we have in our parish, it's for coastal erosion.
Erosion.
Erosion, coastal erosion, only on the coastal parishes. It has nothing to do with the St. Martin Parish whatsoever.
Okay, so I can't speak about just the erosion issues.
On the upper part of the parish, so you can speak to anything that participates on this ordinance that we get with this resolution.
I really just want to speak about erosion. So
No.
they're not going to talk about erosion.
We're not talking about coastal erosion.
Okay, this is to do with erosion, period.
Okay, thank you.
I want to leave this with you.
That's fine if you just bring
I
it.
give it to you?
Yeah.
This is a judgment by Judge Delaney that found erosion issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions by the council? Okay, if not, I need a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion that we reject the proposition.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. LeBlanc to reject. I need a second. Second by Mr. Fortier. Call for the vote.
Summary number 06.
Just
Mr.
for clarification, you're going to adopt that resolution, the second resolution, and prepare.
Reject.
Right, rejecting the review.
Second, if I may, just to make a comment, I think I'll just, all fairness. I know there's been some comments made about the district attorney, Mr. Dewey, being in favor of accepting or pushing this settlement and wanting us to sign. I think some of those comments are unfair because that's never been the impression we've gotten from Mr. Dewey, either at our meeting on August 22nd or in our conversation subsequent thereto. All he did was give us the information. He made that clear to me. I thought he made it clear on August 22nd. He felt obligated to present it to each of the three parishes within his judicial district. And he was not going to do anything that the parish did not want to do it. On one hand, and on the other hand, he was not going to sit on his hands and not perhaps give some guidance to the parishes within his judicial district. He thought that he was duty bound to do it. So,
If you recall, Mr. Cedars, I asked him during the meeting, I said, Mr. Dewey, I said, if we have two parishes who wants to participate and one that doesn't, he said, I'm going to do with the two parishes, I'll sign on behalf of those two, and the one that doesn't, we'll just leave them out. He said, Bo was very fair with us, both of you was very fair with us.
yes. And I just thought out of fairness that he stated